in this video we're going to take a look at the artificial monopolies in profit, and we're going to kind of look at how those might differ from the natural monopolies in profit, and then we're going to do artificial monopolies in a loss, artificial monopolies in break-even or fair return profit, and then we're going to take a look at the relationship of elasticity, marginal revenue, demand, and total revenue for a monopoly, and we're going to do that in the same space that we took some notes last time. So just as a quick refresher, right, because it's a monopoly, we only have one graph. It's the market and the firm. And we're still going to have a downward sloping demand curve that represents the price, but there's going to be a wedge between the MR and the demand curves. So that's a really, really important learning outcome, is that there's going to be a wedge between MR and demand. And they're still going to, even though it's an artificial monopoly, price at, or produce at MR equals MC, and again, price on the demand curve. But the difference here is going to be that an artificial monopoly is not going to have this downward sloping ATC. It's not going to have this downward sloping MC. It's going to look very similar to what our perfectly competitive ATC curves look like. So we're going to start with our price and quantity axes, and then draw a downward sloping demand curve. And we're going to just say that the demand is equal to our priced value. And then a marginal revenue that is a wedge from it. And for this one, right, we're not going to do that flat MC ATC. We're going to draw that MC curve just like before, just like in perfect competition. And we're going to label it also as the supply curve for the firm. Now, the next piece is going to be identifying, and this is going to be somewhat easy here, identifying where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, and that's going to be here. So that's the quantity where they produce, and we know that that's also the quantity in the market. And we're going to go all the way up to price on the demand curve, and that's going to be over here, price that the firm charges. And now we're going to observe that it's in profit, right? Profit. And profit means price is greater than ATC at QF, right? Just like what we've got over here. So at QF, at this dotted line, we're going to need to make our ATC coming down, right? And then it's going to cross the MC line and come back up again, just like before in perfect competition. So it doesn't really matter if the ATC intercepts with the MR line. That piece is kind of irrelevant. You could make it come down and straight back up. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to do one of these, down, and then back up again, ATC. Now, an important part is to note that here is the ATC at QF, right? ATC at QF. And notice how it's not the minimum of the ATC, right? ATC had to come down and then back up. So that minimum of ATC is not really an important point for us. We're only noting that that's where MC is. So ATC at the minimum there isn't going to be a useful point for us. It's actually this point here where QF defines the ATC. And we're going to compare price to ATC, and that vertical distance is the profit per unit from here to here. That's the profit per unit. And then if we go over and shade, that is our profit rectangle. Now I'm going to show you kind of here. I'll zoom back out a little bit. You can see it's basically the same picture, but a different cost curve structure, a slightly different cost curve structure. So again, we're defining profit the same way each time. Its price is greater than ATC at the quantity F, but it's just drawn just a little different with these cost curves. Now we're going to take on artificial in a loss. And have a little bit of coffee there. Okay, all right, price, quantity, demand equals the price, marginal revenue, and again, a nice upward sloping MC that is the supply curve. And we're going to produce where MR equals MC, QF, and price on the demand curve. All right. Now, in loss, right? The same loss condition applies. P is less than ATC at QF. So for this one, we're going to come down, just hit the minimum there, and come back up again. ATC. Now, QF, we're going to need to extend all the way up to find the ATC and go over. And that is our loss per unit, the distance between those. And this shaded box is our loss rectangle. So again, we're just comparing the price here to the ATC up here at QF. Last but not least, equals supply. And we produce at the quantity where MR equals MC. Price up here on the demand curve. PF. Now in this one, this is where a monopoly is normal or break even or fair return. All these terms mean the same thing. Earning a normal profit, breaking even, fair return, all of them mean price equals ATC at QF. So we're going to come down, tangent line, hit the minimum. It's a little hard to do the first time out, and then back up again. It is important that that's the minimum point, right? It's got to cross through MC, and that we hit it, and that demand is a tangent line to the ATC here. And again, we don't have a profit rectangle or a loss rectangle because it's in break even. So hopefully this helps you draw these three graphs on the right-hand side. We're going to take a look at the next page, and on the next page we're going to draw the relationship of elasticity, marginal revenue, demand, and total revenue for monopoly. Now this is actually going to be a little bit of a review from the previous unit, 2 units ago, where we learned the total revenue test of elasticity. So just really quickly, I'm going to write that up here. The total revenue test of elasticity meant that if price is going up and total revenue is going up, then they're moving in the same direction, so the range is inelastic. And if they're going down and down, likewise. We also said that if price is going up but total revenue is going down, you're in the elastic. And likewise, if price is going down and total revenue is going up, you're in the elastic. So we're gonna apply that to the monopoly graph. So we're gonna first note, right, that we have 2 graphs, and we're going to do 2 graphs here, one on top of another. Okay. And this one's technically going to be total revenue. And this one would be price and quantity. And we'll say down, and that's the demand curve, and marginal revenue. So we're just drawing the monopoly up here. But then down here, we're going to find that cross where marginal revenue crosses, and we're going to do like a little dotted line all the way over. And what we're going to show is that when marginal revenue is positive, then the total revenue should be increasing with every unit. Should be increasing. But once marginal revenue goes to the negative range, right, that is to say down here, we would say that it starts to go to 0 again. Okay. So this is our graph here of total revenue and demand. And we could actually, if we notice down here, we can find that these numbers could correspond to up here actually, right? This first unit, or this is our 0th unit, right? And our maximum was at 5, right, quantity and 5 price, and that's 25 total revenue. So we could actually say, like, that's 25. This is quantity 5, price 5, right? So you can use the data that's actually down here that we took yesterday to take a look at some of this as well. Now, we do need to add one more thing onto here and observe the elasticity ranges of the monopoly. And we could find that here in this range, where marginal revenue is still positive, that if you lowered the price, you went down the demand curve, right? So where price was going down, what's happening to total revenue? from that range? Well, it's going up, right? It's going up in that range. And so here, price going down, total revenue going up. This is the elastic range. And we would also say that this is the inelastic range. And so this point is the unit elastic. So this again is more of a review from before, but I'm gonna point that out to you and say, look, right where that marginal revenue crosses is unit elastic. So simple test time, right? QF, same graph that we just did right here. QF, is the firm operating in the elastic, inelastic, or unit elastic range? Well, that point, right, somewhere in here, is where unit elastic is unit. And everything over this way is the elastic. Everything this way is the inelastic. So QF is in the elastic range. And in fact, the way we've drawn all of these, QF is over to the left of where the MR crosses. So in all 6 of these, it's in the elastic range. Now you certainly could probably find a way to draw them in a different range if you put your mind to it. But realistically, a simple FRQ question is to say, what range of the demand curve is this monopoly operating in? And what they're saying is, are they elastic, uninelastic, or inelastic? So hopefully this helps you understand a little bit about monopolies, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.